Alright, welcome back into another Dragon Ball Super card game video, and today I'm going to talk about kind of a part 2 of the yellow baby deck that I did last week or so, and this is going to be Red Beerus. It's using similar cards, of course the same colors in red and yellow, but utilizing them in a different way, where yellow baby is kind of like the aggro, balls to the wall, sort of like, hey, I'm at 2 life and this is either life or death. Beerus is kind of the opposite. He is trying to control every aspect of the game. He is trying to draw a lot of cards, and he has few different win cons. Well, I wouldn't say a few. I think he has like 2, to be at least in this build. I think Red Beerus kind of got a little bit of support with the new TP, which is why this is a part 2. The first part was to basically put on pressure with the new TP and offering and things like that, along with the new support in the anniversary box. And then this one is just the TP with few other recognizable things. I think Red Beerus has been one of those leaders that I've always kind of come back and be like, well, red is sort of dominating and doing well. What other red leaders could be pretty decent? And I think with Beerus's effect, where you can pitch a red and yellow card to draw 2, is really nice, right? It's one of those control aspects. You don't have to swing, you don't have to take hits to draw cards. You sort of just are there and are able to generate some advantage. He's an untapped 2 leader, and then on the backside is again the more correlation to the current format, as well as current decks, where you can use the activate battle and combo for free a multicolor red-yellow card. And some of those effects are actually pretty good. Not only the pitch and draw from the drop, but also when you pitch, you get some certain effects and certain the cards that we're going to take a look at as well. The red-yellow pop a card is probably not that great, but you can use it if it's late game and you have nothing better to do. But that activate battle is really pretty good on offense and as well as defense, and being able to use it for really any of the cards that you have as well is pretty dang good as well. So I really do enjoy the deck. So let's take a look at the deck list. All right, so here's the deck list. And at first glance, I think again you see a lot of recognizable cards, right? You see the draw ape. It's probably one of the best things you can pitch, where you can draw 2 by tapping 2. The backside leader doesn't draw, so these are going to be some really important throughout the match or any kind of game that you may be playing. Whi's Fundamentals is another really good option to pitch, and then we also have because you can warp it and then minus 5k and take a life, which in this deck I feel like you have a good amount of ways to self-awaken, which is really good. Then we also have Whis, which is my preferred one. Even though we played 2, I think you can probably bump this up to 3. There have been games where I've almost decked out just because of the offering, just because of the draw 2, and just because how slow a game might be going. The Ethereal Guidance allows you to take a life and then choose something to rest, and this is going to be one of those things that sort of just exists in your drop, where you can just keep using the leader effect, the activate battle, and then in a pinch you can pay 1 red. And I've used this before, whereas a 15k combo for 1, where basically you know that it's towards the end of the game, or the end of the turn I should say, where you know you're not going to be able to use that energy, 1 or 2 energy that you might be getting passed to. So you may as well do this, and you may as well end up using some of your arrival threats, where again, those are kind of the best things to pitch, and the whole point of this deck is to, again, generate a little bit of advantage in your hand and as well as on the board on their turn. The 2 things that you do play on their turn are going to be the ceasing or unceasing rage, where you arrival red-yellow, you pay a red, and then you draw a card, and you can minus 2 of their battle cards in rest mode and minus 10k power for the turn, which is not too bad. Some of the annoying threats like Gamma's red or green blue androids, when they have dual attack, this can kind of get over that pretty easily, especially if you're arrivaling a multicolor, or the Piccolo, or really anything that kind of restands. But not too bad. The activate main's not great. Don't use this. People can just negate it. But the draw 20k body on their turn is really quite good, including the minus 10k. And then, of course, we already know from the last video. If you haven't checked that out, definitely check out the yellow baby video where, again, it's an offering red yellow. You pay for one, and all you really need to do is just sit there and basically wait until they either crit or you draw 2, which is why you generate so much advantage. The 15k body that the auto says that you can keep something in rest mode 4 or less, which again, I've said it before, it's the Cell Z battle card, it's the Gamma dual attacker, it's the blue Piccolo that has dual attack. I think apparently those are all blue. I think it hits the obviously Mecha Frieza in yellow, like smaller 15k bodies, sometimes 20. Is really clutch for this card. Of course, it has a permanent where if you have a red yellow multicolor card in your energy, you reduce this card by 1, which is really nifty because now that's just a free combo for this or for another. So that's not too bad. One thing to really note is that because this guy has the activate battle for the red yellow multicolor card from your drop and combo with it, there are things that just have the 0.5k power. When you go with this one, because it is obviously a really good arrival effect, but because you'll probably get this effect for the 5k in as well as the minus 5k for all the dual color that you play. And of course you can hit like a Saiyan Instincts or something like that in order to just combo it off and just minus something 5k on their end. But again, 0.5k here, 0.5k here. The best things you can probably use is going to be these guys and this guy. This is really good just because you're going to be charging probably this or something else. I think this deck is a little bit more lenient when it comes to multicolor and as well as red colors. In the yellow baby deck, you probably charge up more yellow than you do red, which is why this guy, the Defender of Life, for 2 red and 3 Z energy, is going to be a lot easier than it is to use it in the other deck. But this is not too bad because a lot of the time what happens, as we talk about win cons, is that when you start your few turns, right, you have your first turn to charge a multicolor card, and then you pitch something to draw 2. The second turn is that if you pitch the ape, you can just draw 2, or you can just pass the turn after pitching and drawing 2, maybe swing, right? On their side, on that same turn too, you can just combo either a super combo or one of these guys if you have another multicolor that you don't really care about because you need something in the drop anyway. You would be able to combo and then arrival one of these guys, which is probably what you want to do on that 2 energy if you don't have an ape. And then the third turn is the Jiren, where you play for 2 or play for 3, I should say, and then you have that up with 4 markers with the Videl, which also gets around Black Smoke. That's another reason why I edited the Jiren as a main component of the deck. It gets around that. It gets around Deflect, which is really good. This gets around Deflect, which is really good. You can take out a whole secret rare if you really wanted to with those guys, and as well as this guy by adding into the Z energy and the minus 15k afterwards. There's a lot of really good minusing effects here. And then turn 3, if you are able to, which you are going to need to be or pay attention to the Whis and as well as any other awakening effects like testing the opposition and surmounting the impossible, you are able to untap 2 and then play this guy for the 3Z energy and as well as the 2 energy and get them down to 4 to 3. And during that time, again, is that you really want to keep swinging, and probably between 5 and 7 or 5 and 8, I should say. The offering effect for 1 is really easy to get off, and more often than not, they're gonna crit the life. So if they're 5 to 7, they're gonna crit the life. 4 and under, they're gonna let you draw, unless it's a desperate situation where they're just they just don't care. They're just gonna crit and try to go for game. I've had that happen quite a lot actually. So those are the things to think about. You get them down to 3, and then the goal from there is to play a little bit of defense from testing the opposition, from Realm of the Gods, which is really just for Red Sin and a couple other decks on the offensive. But really, just play defense, play your hand, and when it comes to that, down to that turn 4, you have Mira, the Creative Absorb, which is why you play 2. It's your win con. You really want to see it, and it's really easy to get off for 1 energy as well, and you don't really get punished too much. Then we also have All Money Resistance. You can play this at 2, but you'll end up seeing it unless it's in your life. It's really up to you how you want to curate the deck in general. But if that doesn't go well, then you have Oolong to copy Mira from there. And as long as you are comboing off and defending, as I was talking about, you'll get that too, as well as the 3 here. That's the ideal situation. It doesn't really also happen all the time, but you also have access to Rush Attack, Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta. So I think there's a lot of different ways to end the game, including the secret rare, one of the best secret rares you can play. I really like the Gohan secret rare with Piccolo, but this guy just kind of wipes the board and basically says like, hey, I'm gonna win the game if you just go to 1. So it's that type of thing. It's that type of thing. And of course you have access to Worldly Crown and Retribution for a lot of the blue decks. You can also tech, don't have a sideboard here, but you can also tech a lot of different cards in red and yellow in order to go against pretty much all matchups. I can't really think of one that doesn't take or you can't really do against. But I think overall, this deck is really fun. I think I've had a lot of good success with it. Would I take it to a tournament like the one that's coming up? I think beginning of February. I think end of June or end January, beginning of February. I think I would. I think I would test it out at least in an event. Obviously, test it out at your locals, test it against your testing buddies, things like that. But I think a good deck builder and someone who dedicates the answers and matchups and things like that for Red Beerus, I think it is in a pretty good spot up until set 20, which I don't think so far set 20 has anything that says no to this deck or really any of the format defining deck. But yeah, either way, let me know what you think in the comments below. Just wanted to blab about a deck that I like, which is kind of the reason why I made this channel. Like, dislike, don't subscribe if you don't want to, but if you do, I do appreciate it. I'll see you in the next one.